Hey y'all, just wanted to provide a quick little tutorial on how to either start a blog post, edit a blog post, or just refresh one. So far I've already logged into the EHE Academic Technology e-learning site, so elearning.ehe.osu.edu/login to access that. Use your OSU name.number and it should present you with a dashboard of sorts. Fair warning, this actually is going to look a little bit different on your end. Mine might have a little couple more menu items here. But to get to our blog posts, you're going to go to Posts on the left-hand menu. And from here, you'll see all of the posts that have already been written. Again, you might only see some of them that are in your name, but what we want to do for this example is just to add a new one. And what we're going to title this is How to Look Your Best on Video Conferencing, or Conferences. And from here, I can actually start my article. Notice that it automatically gave me a URL. That's something that we might change because some of them are actually a bit long if it just does the default. But from here, I'm going to grab some content that I already have written out here, and just to place it in there just as a starting point. Another thing I want to grab is a YouTube video. So I'm going to go to a certain video that we've already picked out, click on Share, Embed, and we can just go ahead and grab this as is, or just hit the copy button there, head back to my article, and this is where we have to go to text, or the HTML code, and just simply paste it in there. The default options here, height, width, are fine. In the other example that I'm going to give, you'll actually see how to do it at a certain time code. So let's go ahead and grab that one as well. Now in this one, we want it to start at a certain time. So wherever we paused it, it should actually have a number already in there. I'm just going to adjust that 1 second, and you'll see that it actually has a different code in there. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, using that one this time. Go back over here to my article, just hit enter, paste in that other iframe, so that's our YouTube video. If we go back to the visual now, we should see we have 2 embedded videos with a little bit of text in between. Now, what I want to do at this point is just kind of show basic formatting. So if you need to get something above a video, this is a common problem that I often encounter, and you need to add it above the video, but the video is like the first thing and you can't actually go there. Click to the right, hit your left arrow key twice, hit enter, and that adds a space for you right there. So I want to add a quick intro to any video that I'm posting on an article. So with this one, I'm just going to write a quick little blurb. And then down below here, I need to kind of give some context to this list right here. So I'm just going to add a little paragraph there. And yet another item here that I want to add some context to. All right, so we added some context to the videos, but we can also add some headings, and that's going to help in a couple different ways, just for organization, reading flow, and then also for screen readers as well. They can actually identify different headings, and people with visual impairments can actually know where the story actually is and what they want to go to. So first up, we're going to add a heading here that maybe just says professional looks. And what I'm going to do is just highlight that, and this paragraph option here, it's actually a drop down, and you can change it to a bunch of different headings, and then there's a pre-formatted option. By default, your top heading on an article should actually just be a heading 2. The heading 1 is typically reserved for the site title. So for an article title, we can go ahead and just leave it at heading 2. Same thing with this next item here. I'm going to add some more context and just add some top 10 tips. I said context, but I actually meant header. Another heading 2. And then finally, down here, looking and sounding great. Now this might just be a draft. I may actually go back and edit these at a later time, but for right now this is actually a pretty good start. If there's other content that I would want to add, I can now easily add that just by clicking and hitting enter without having to really worry about the videos much anymore. So to finalize this, I am going to give it a certain category, and then I'm going to add some tags to it as well. So the difference between those two is that a blog will typically look at categories for sorting or displaying only something of that category. Right now we don't have that set up currently, but when we do, we want to be able to filter these things in a meaningful way. So because this is Zoom and it does actually relate to a couple different things, we do have the option to choose multiple. And in this case, I'm going to choose multimedia because it is Zoom and it's a video audio type of article. And then I'm also going to choose technology and then potentially workplace as well. There is an option for teaching, but we also have the option to link related articles, which I can get into at a later date. So for right now, those 3 categories is more than sufficient. I probably would recommend really only sticking to 2, so I'm kind of breaking my own rule. As far as tags go, this is a little bit more flexible. Anything that you see in the article, so maybe it's tips, maybe it's headset, maybe it's Zoom, maybe it's microphone, things like that, you can actually add as tags. So I'm just going to click on this most used and just choose from those to start. Let's see. There's Zoom, some video conference, there's web conference. This could actually relate to screencasting, but for right now we're going to leave that one blank. Remote teaching for sure. And that's all for right now. Again, this is something that you can add to later, but just give it a couple, 4 to 5 just to start. Again, you can actually use some of the keywords in the article itself to add as tags. Default template, keep that the same if you do happen to see that. A featured image actually would be great to have. A featured image is going to be shown on like a home blog page. So if we present all of our articles together, this is something that will make it stand out in a certain way. Now, if you can't think of anything right off the bat, not to worry. Once you hit Save Draft, it's going to actually give you a default one that I have set up. So the draft is now saved. I could actually go to preview it. And if I scroll down, the featured image is actually going to show this because we chose multimedia as one of those categories, so it's showing me a video camera. Let's go ahead and just preview that. So I'm going to open it up in a new tab. And here's what we got so far. When we are ready to go, we can actually hit publish and then it will be live on the site. But a couple of things that we'll probably want to check first is going to be what they call the permalink or slug, and make that as easy to get to as possible, and also just make sure that we're not missing other resources like I have up here. So a Zoom page that actually has a ton of different resources, stuff from Zoom themselves about looking good and meeting like a pro. And then if this is for like education, some tips and tricks there. So don't forget the existing resources out there, and don't be afraid to link to them as well. So in fact, I might just actually do that right now, just as an example. So I'm just going to put a other resources one, and notice that I didn't actually have to highlight that. It just will do it by line. Okay, and with links, this is important to note. With links, you always want to provide context. You never want to say just simply click here. That's not really going to be helpful to anyone that does have a visual impairment. So always make your links contextual, and in this case, I actually made it the title of the document itself. And then to add a link, there is a link button here, and then you can see the keyboard shortcut is Control-K, or if you're on Mac, Command-K. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that right there. That looks a little bit funky. Open up the gear icon, and what I typically like to do is always choose Open Link in a new tab. That's going to be very helpful for people to not navigate away from our site, which we want to keep them on. If you happen to be linking in between another post of our own, you can actually find those here as well. I'm just going to go ahead and click Update, scroll back down, and you should see, if you haven't visited the site in a while, it'll be blue, but right now it's purple. And I'm going to go ahead and save draft. And we should see that pop up down here as well. And there we go.